Horseman representing Harrisfilm Productions and Task Force 78.
This is Steve Harry Harris and the Harrisfilm crew. Tonight we have Ken Mays and Kalua, Roy Ivy, and Matt Arnold.
Hey.
Tonight we have a special Mark Ferguson, almost live from Las Vegas, Nevada. He's at the current Star Trek convention, and this was recorded the week of the 7th of August, 2025. Take it away, Mark.
So this is Dr. Jones, Mark Ferguson. I got a copper pass, which on the copper pass they give you a gold coin, and of course your pass you get to sit pretty close to up front. And they looked at the setup I have, the tripod and whatnot, and they said, "Well, are you media?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to be reporting to my group about that, letting them know what I'm doing here." And they said, "Okay, you're press." So I'm sitting up front where the captain's chairs are, and that's like a $1,500 seat, where my ticket's like $130 or something like that.
Wow. So
I get kind of a front view up there, checking that out. And there's a lot of walk-ins, about 107 degrees outside. And very, very humid. It's been a lot of fun. So far, it's probably about a quarter of the amount of people that were here when I was here in 2017. And there was like 12,000 people that time. There's probably like a quarter of that here.
I met Sean from Trek Culture on YouTube. And he, are you guys familiar with him?
Yes.
Yeah, we've seen him. Yeah, Sean Fenrick.
Yeah, he's a really interesting guy. Just like he is on the show. I spoke to him afterwards for a few moments to introduce myself and say, "Hey, can I just ask you a few questions?" And they said, "Oh yeah, sure, go right ahead." And I talked to him and asked him what it was like, how long it take to produce something, and he says, well, one of his 15-minute episodes says takes him about 13 hours to do.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, and he was really cool to talk to. He was in a panel with someone else that does a show. I didn't catch their name, but he was really talking about how he puts his show together, how it comes together, and then how the research that he does. And he says, I put a lot of thought into it. I bring humor into it and Easter eggs. He says, it just isn't me talking. He says, you'll notice that I throw in a variety of stuff. He goes, and I have to look all that stuff up.
Right.
And
that's one thing that slows me.
He says, I go in depth into an episode when I analyze it. I just give you my best thoughts and what I picked up on. I went to the Roddenberry archive, and it was a room filled with stuff from reunification, the YouTube video reunification, and how that was made. And there was a bunch of costumes that were used, and it had a plaque under each one saying what was the character, and a little synopsis about that. And they had some virtual reality things that you could try on to examine the different ships, and also things from the Kirk era that, going on board the ship and doing a virtual tour with this virtual mask. And there were no stars there at that. There were people that really knew their stuff from that exhibit. And you just kind of meandered around, and it was a very short walk, but it was interesting to see the uniforms from back in the day, and some of them were extremely worn, and some were
they had them on the exhibit. Wow.
Yeah, they had some that were extremely worn, and some that were from all the way back from the motion picture until through the end of Kirk's life era of things. And then I left that room, and then I went in, and I literally ran into physically ran into Nana Visitor from Deep Space Nine. And I go, oh man, excuse me. And I told her, who I was, and I said, I had to look forward to being here. Glad to see her. And she was very polite, super outgoing, and she has weathered the storm well. She just has a super good attitude. And then she moved to her table and was doing autographs and was waving and talking to people, and you could pick up some of the conversations about the questions that they're asking. She said, I'd love to talk to you all at your length, but I can only answer brief questions to keep people moving along. And let's see, panel discussions. The guy that played the Borg Hugh, Jonathan Del Arco, he talked about in Star Trek Picard, the first season, about his character dying. Those, spoiler alert for those that haven't seen it yet. But it talked about that, and he says, I wasn't on stage a whole lot. And he said a few episodes before, I was watching to get the feel for the filming, and they said, but my part was very short. And he said, and I had to really get geared up for the emotion for it to get into character. And he said, well, what did you think about it? He said, well, I thought about missing my friends. It was going to be the last time I saw a lot of these people. So he talked about how he prepared for it. And that was really cool. Michelle Hurd, that played Raffi, she was on stage. She was on stage, and she's just like she's in the show. She's a real pistol, kind of swearing a mile a minute, but she was talking about her relationship with Eleanor, how she kind of looked out for him as a character. And she says, I really felt like I was mothering him like he was my own kid. And then she talked about also how she prepared for her scenes. And she says, well, what was it like working with Jerry Ryan and some of the other shows? She goes, they're all very professional and very polite. She said she was really not surprised, but very happy to see how people from the Star Trek universe that are actors know their own parts so intimately, and others' parts as well. Also, Peyton List, the Romulan that was Lieutenant Russo. She was the one that was. I think she was she was trying to shoot Jerry Ryan, or the Borg version of Jerry Ryan. She was in the cube there with Hugh, and she was a Romulan sister to Picard's protege that was a twin, something to that effect. Lower Decks was just on stage, and the characters, or the people, the actual actors, was Tawny Newsome, Noel Wells, Eugene Cordero, and Gabriela Ruiz, I think that's how you pronounce it. And she's also a professional
Gabriela Ruiz.
She's also a professional
Really?
singer.
I did not know that.
Oh my gosh, I saw her sing on stage last night with this group, and I think that not the Toy Soldiers, I'll have to look up what they were called. The Action Heroes was the name of the band. And the leader of that band was the guy that played the part in Orville. He was the guy that had the beard, in red hair. Yeah, he played him, and he was the pianist in the band. He was kind of like a lead singer, and they played a lot of 80s music, and they played some 70s music, like from Journey and Styx. That's what I related to. And they were really good. They were really good. That was about an hour and a half that they played. And last night, and it was very entertaining. Okay, what's coming up tomorrow, you might ask? Go ahead and ask.
What's coming up tomorrow, Mark?
I knew you were going to ask that. So there's they're going to have a get together from people from some actors from Enterprise. The guy that played Charles Tucker, he's going to be there. The helmsman. I actually saw him in another panel, but they're going to talk about how we just hit our stride in season 4, and we were really looking forward to more. So they're going to explain a little bit more.
It's going to be great.
They were going to explain where that was going to go. And so they're going to talk about that. There's also going to be some panels about the merger with a Paramount and Skydance. All right, Skydance. Yeah, so they're going to talk about that through the various panels tomorrow and how that's impacting the acting field. And one guy said,
Yeah.
a lot of our jobs have just dried up. He said, we're not getting calls. And he said, so we're having to be inventive, and we're really having to going out and promoting ourselves. Whereas before, the Star Trek universe was so rich with all these shows, he said we could write. Sometimes we ended up, those of us that had director experience, he said we had many hats that we wore, and we got to work in different forms of different shows. So I thought that was interesting. He said, it's right for you to be nervous about what's going to happen to Star Trek because none of us really know. We know that there will be the Academy, which is going to be at least one season. He says, but on the boiler plate after that, he says, everything's kind of up right now. It depends on so many things. And so they kind of want to open that up to, he said, we want to open these panels up for discussion to dispel some of the rumors and to tell you what we know as actors, what we look forward to, what we're nervous about. He said, we want to be completely honest with you so that if you want to write, the new company and say, keep us alive, and like those things. He said in the past, they really made a difference when people did that. I have a photo op with William Shatner, and I also had my picture taken with the gentleman that played the original Captain Pike. And I bought a photograph. I bought this photograph of the original Captain Pike and Captain Kirk in one photo. And Pike, he signed his, and he goes, you should have William Shatner sign this on Sunday too.
Oh, Sean Keeney, yeah, the guy in the wheelchair.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he said he'll do it. He'll do it. If you're getting a photo op, he will sign that for you. And he says, if not, you come and see me. He said, I'll give him hell. And I said, yeah, I did. But I'm kind of looking forward to that too.
Okay. Do you want to talk us through these photos you sent us?
Oh yeah.
Will you be able to see those?
Can
you see that?
So.
All right. Talk to me about that one.
I got a where you are.
It says Picard 5th anniversary, Michelle Hurd.
Video. Let me look at the pictures I have.
Yeah, it's Michelle Hurd and the people from Picard on the set.
Oh yeah, so I got that. They were just up on stage.
Yeah.
And it was the Picard 5th anniversary film of Michelle Hurd and the guy that played Hugh.
Right.
The Romulan lady.
The guy with the microphone, is that Hugh? I can't tell.
No, he's some narrator dude. I'm not sure who he is. I haven't met him.
Oh,
he's kind of like that bit, and he said it's his first time emceeing, and he's doing a good job.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's my first time ever doing this, so I think he may have been a stand-in, but that was about. I sent a copy of a shirt that I saw to Ken because I thought he'd get a kick out of it.
Your mama likes
the one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, mama.
And then there's one of balloons. This guy's a balloon artist. He did a balloon artist of the Enterprise. That was kind of cool. Then, of course, you got this extremely handsome-looking gentleman in this gold tunic. Looks really good. He's sitting in the captain's chair. Oh, wait a minute. That's me, of course. That's a given. So, yeah, I and my friend Blaine, he took a picture of me. And it's a really nice chair. It looks really cool. It's blinking lights. It was done very well. I'll flip through some of these others. Oh, and then they have some spirits there. I took a picture of a bottle of Romulan ale, allegedly. And they don't sell them there for you to buy at the convention. They can't do that. They can introduce you to so you get, if you want to order something online, and they're not that
illegal.
Yeah. It's you can order them online, and you can buy them as a kit, or just buy a bottle or something like that.
Romulan ale is illegal.
Yeah, so they say. Then there's some pictures of the Roddenberry archives. And what you're looking at there, when you see those, is if you're wearing VR glasses, you can actually see. You can click on items and go to the different bridges or the different engine rooms of those ships.
Oh.
And on the other side, there, like Blaine was using his the VR glasses, and he was in engineering, but you can't actually activate any buttons or anything. You're just doing like a virtual walkthrough.
It's like a 3D immersion.
Yeah. And then I took a picture of the Roddenberry. There's a card there, and if you click on that QR code, it will take you to their site and show you the clothing and whatnot from what I saw today.
Interesting.
And there was some from the animated series, and then I took a picture of I think it's Captain Kirk's captain's outfit. It's all red, the braid on the shoulder. I'm not sure which show that's from. I'm not sure which one that one's from.
One of the movies, but yeah.
Yeah. And then there's
like an admiral.
There's a button of an arm there with some buttons on it. There's a little chair there with a. What is that? It said, "Oh," he said. He said one of our crew slapped that together and put that together. And it shows a couple of different rows.
Yeah, I'd like a couple of those.
Yeah, and let's see. I got a picture of Sean from Trek Culture. He has a very thick Scottish accent. That was really interesting to watch. But that's about it, guys. They're just letting out from a convention here, so I'm going to have to get going.
All right.
Let me find you again.
Appreciate it.
Exciting stuff, to communicate with Mark on his away mission to the convention in 2025. They're up there in Las Vegas. That's a good time.
They normally only do the weekend, and they extended it for 5 days this year. They started on Wednesday, and yesterday was the second day. Today is day 3. Wow.
This is Mark Ferguson from Harry Harris Productions, Film Productions, and Task Force 78. Also, Kenneth Mees, Task Force 81, Starship Shinano, which are inspired by Star Trek in Space 1999. I'm coming to you live from the Rio Star Trek Las Vegas. And it's the big convention here that takes place every year. I haven't been here since 2018, so it's a really, really nice. It's a big crowd. It's a little bit smaller than it normally is, they say, but Saturday and Sunday are yet to come when all the big stars will be showing up for autograph sessions and whatnot. Got up bright and early and, of course, had breakfast across the street. The casino's really expensive here, but then headed over to the Rio. I'm staying at the Gold Coast, so then I headed over to the Rio. And, when you're walking down the pathway, it's a long walk, you're always running into some type of a star, like the Okudas. They acknowledge just about everyone that walks by that's wearing a Star Trek shirt, and I thought that was really nice, with a nod or a wave, and that was pretty cool. And then I was standing in line waiting, and then this person was in front of me and had a little briefcase that was waiting to get in. And I said, "Excuse me," and the guy turned around. It was Brent Spiner, and he says, "Why, of course." He says, "Are you coming to see me?" And then I said, "Well, I'm seeing you right now." He said, "Well, where are you from?" I said, "Oh, I'm from Olympia, Washington." He goes, "Oh, I know Olympia." He says, "Nice area." He says, "Well, hope to see you later." Nice guy.
Yeah.
I also saw and briefly got to speak to Jonathan Frakes. What a wonderful man. Super nice, outgoing guy. And so it started off with, like I said, Michael Okuda and his wife, and just said a brief hello to them. And I was watched one of their panels that they were in, and they were talking about the set in Ticonderoga, New York. And they had a short film, about a 10-minute film of a walkthrough.
and they were talking about how they do upkeep on that almost daily, whether it's dusting or cleaning or adjusting things. And he said that when William Shatner comes there, he comes there twice a year. He has been twice a year, and then he makes a point of saying, "Oh, there's my chair."
What? There's my chair.
Yeah, and then he sits in the chair, and he says, An interesting fact is when he's signing autographs there and no place else, he signs it William Shatner, and below it he writes Captain Kirk."
Oh,
And they said that he doesn't do that at the conventions, but he does it there. So I thought that was neat. And he was saying that Shatner, so the favorite parts that he likes of the Ticonderoga, New York City, he goes, of course I like my chair. And then
of course.
he says, but he says, I like the transporter room. He says it's just done so well. He says it brings back wonderful memories. So they were really pleasant in hearing them talk about how the set was put together, and why Jeffries Tube is called Jeffries Tube.
Mm-hmm. Matt Jeffries.
Yep. And then there was a panel with Jess Bush, Nurse Chapel from Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
With her British accent, and it's she's very nice, very cool person. And she talked about what it's like. She says, "Oh yes, my eyebrows are much thicker online than real." And she goes, "I do like the color of the hair that I have on set. I wear that quite a bit." And she was talking about her own line of jewelry that she has, which is like honeybees in some type of clear resin.
Oh, okay.
And she'll do earrings and necklaces. Very unique. It's very cool. And so I was actually in the vendor room while she was there, and Brent Spiner walks up to her, and she starts talking to him, and she's showing him her necklaces and whatnot, and so that was really cool. And what I thought was interesting is Flash Gordon was there.
I saw the picture.
Yeah,
Flash,
that was something else.
Savior of the universe.
Exactly. And this guy's fit, man.
Yeah.
He's just as fit as can be, and a gigantic Flash. Oh, smile. And the guy that plays Captain Shaw from Strange New Worlds,
mm-hmm.
He also played in a vampire show called The Originals, which is a spin-off of the Vampire Diaries, and he plays a priest. And I've seen that whole series of The Originals, and man, does he do a spot-on job. And he was standing there singing some tunes and whatnot, and then he'd stop and go, "Oh, hello, how are you?" And he's
personality.
He's quite the personality.
Mm.
So that was really interesting to see him there. And Robert Picardo was standing right next to him in a dapper kind of a gray suit looked like it was from the 50s. And he has hat on. He was taking his hat off and talking to people. And he's very animated when he talks also. So I sent you a video. There's like a big square, and all around this square, there's the tables, and a lot of the stars are sitting there for selfies, which they weren't charging much for those, and for autographs. But when they did them in pairs and whatnot, they did that in a bigger auditorium, and you had to show your credentials. Also, I'm part of a Star Trek fandom and costuming group in Olympia, Washington. That's the Olympia, Washington chapter of Star Trek: The Fleet, and they're out of Los Angeles, and they have 10 chapters all over the United States and one in Canada. And so there was 40 of us there at the big rotunda, and we all stood together and had our picture taken there. People from several chapters, so that was kind of neat to meet up with those people. And let's see what else from today.
What was their name? Do you know?
It's a Star Trek: The Fleet, and the fleet
I know
commander,
that.
the fleet commander's name is Philip Morgenthaler.
Yes, I know that name.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, and him and his brother are pretty cool. Then they had this other panel called Inglorious Trexperts, Trexperts.
Right.
Can't think of the guy's name, but he was talking about anywhere from costuming, directing, answering questions about technical things on the show. And well, how did you do that one shot? And that was pretty interesting. He's a pretty versatile person. Okay. Um, also, they had a science astronomy panel where a gentleman was some scientist, and he was sporting his Trek T-shirt, and he was talking about different asteroids and how this particular one comes from the Kuiper Belt, and how a spacecraft landed on it and took off and came back with samples, and that was really interesting. And I've never been to a science panel, so that was interesting to hear him and see the video that he had.
Was that the
And
Cassini spacecraft? I don't remember. One of them crashed into the thing.
the Cassini, that was Venus, I believe.
Okay. It's been a
But
while.
this is an actual craft that landed on an asteroid just long enough to do a scoop up and take off again, and come back to Earth and drop the remains.
I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
touch and
and
go.
then and he was talking about how as a young person, how he was inspired by Star Trek and the stars and astronomy, and that's how he got into what he got into.
Hmm.
Let's see what else was. Oh, and then there was a panel from yesterday's Enterprise. That's the Star Trek: The Next Generation, correct?
Yes.
Yesterday's Enterprise. It had Ronald Moore, Denise Crosby,
Mm-hmm.
and Brandon Braga and David Livingston, and they were all on their panel, and they were talking about how it took them a while to film that. He said some people were sick and some weren't, and he said it was when you're working with someone for a few days and they're gone for a few days, it's hard to get that magic back when you're right in the middle of something. And he said
Definitely.
the one thing that he said, Star Trek, at least the Paramount Star Trek, and all the major productions like Deep Space Nine, the shows, he said we have to stick to the script 100%. We cannot deviate. We can't make stuff up. We cannot improvise unless a director says that we can. He goes, and that's very rare. And he said one thing that they were really proud of is he said that they were always prepared and everyone knew their lines. He said we'd crack each other up and have to do takes, but they were talking about how knowing their lines, you actually knew the other person's lines too. So that was kind of neat. And Denise Crosby talked about how leaving Trek, she goes, biggest mistake I made. I didn't know it was going to be that big, she said.
Wow.
And she goes, I really didn't know it was going to be that big. And I thought I was going to get stereotyped. And she says, biggest mistake I ever made. She goes, I had some comebacks, with the Romulan.
Right.
But as she said, I really wish that I would have stuck with it.
Well, in a way, it was a good thing because it showed that Starship life is dangerous, and even a main character could be killed off. So, hello.
Yep. Oh, and
But I
then
agree.
the final thing from today. Yeah. Okay, I get a few seconds here.
Okay.
The thing that I did today was I stayed for the Deep Space Nine panel, and it was Nana Visitor,
Yeah.
Sirach Lofton,
Right.
Chase Masterson,
Yep.
Andrew Robinson, and yeah, that was pretty cool. It was the Nana. She was talking about. She said, there was a baseball scene that she was in, and she says, well, how did you prepare for that? She says, well, Avery Brooks threw a base to her, and it just hit her, and it hit
Oh.
it hit the ground, and she went, ow. He says, you totally have no reaction, no reactive skills.
Wow.
And she said, he's such a, she says, she says, he's such a method actor. She said, he stays in that method acting the whole time. And then
Oh, I
talking,
love Avery Brooks. Yeah, he's amazing. Used to
then,
watch him on other stuff.
what's the other guy's name? I think it was Sirach.
Yeah,
He,
Sherrock
he
Lupton.
said I
It's
was
his
14.
birthday.
Yep. They said happy birthday. He said, I was 14. And then he says, in a summer or so, he says, I grew 4 inches. And he
Oh.
says, I was taller than Avery Brooks, and he really didn't care for that.
I can
So
believe
he
it.
kind of joked about that. He was talking what it was like to work with Mr. Eisenberg as, Nog. And he says, yeah, we were good friends. He goes, we cracked each other up all the time. And he says, I always gave him a bad time that he had to stand on a soapbox just so he could be at the same level with me when we had some of our lines.
Yeah.
So it was really neat hearing from them. Also, hearing from the guy that played Garrick.
Right.
He
Andrew
was talking
Robinson.
about he has a
Yes.
fascination with masks from different eras. And he says, when I had the Garrick mask put on, and he said, my eyes would get really big. And he says, I loved being really animated. And he said, I ended up speaking like Garrick. He says, he says, I can feel like I'm channeling him right now. And he says, and when he became a hero, during the war series, the
Right.
Dominion Wars, he said he was really happy to see Garrick get to become a hero, a spy,
Right.
And that's what I did today. Tomorrow's a full day too.
Did you have any quick questions,
But
Roy?
just wanted to report back to you guys and let you know what's been going on and what I've seen, and I'll probably do some more. I've been taking notes as I go along on my iPad of the different panels and what they talk about, just brief notes to share with you. And then in the meantime, I try to send you guys some video clips and stills so that it isn't part of this presentation right now live that I'm having with you, that you have a chance to
Right.
preview
Yeah, I
that
can
before,
edit
and
it in.
maybe you can
Right.
show that at another time if
Yeah.
everyone hasn't seen that.
Okay.
But there are various clips like from the vendor's room, how huge that is, and recreations of starships and Klingon ships that people have made, and it's fantastic.
All right. Well, if you want to call back while you're wandering around, that's fine too. I'm probably going to be here for a
except for a
while.
pair of socks that look cool. But
So yeah, if
well,
you want to call,
that's about it, guys. I just wanted to share with you what's going on.
okay.
Oh, well, soak it all in. It's an
And
experience.
I'll probably be reporting back to you tomorrow. Any questions or comments?
Roy?
Soak it up. Soak it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the sound went dead here. But if you can hear me, nod your head. Okay, I can't hear you.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you very much. It's good to report, and I'll talk to you tomorrow and let you know what it was like to meet Kate Mulgrew. And I plan on talking to some other people from various fan clubs to see what they're up to. So this is Mark from Task Force 78 signing off, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.
All right. Thank you. When I saw it and I saw the sign David Gerald, I said, that's not David Gerald.
He looks pretty much the same. He's just
he does.
He's just a little different, but yeah. From Picard.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pretty good actor. It is so cool that you get to meet these guys wandering around the convention. That's always those moments are priceless, and you get to, and they're spontaneous, whatever else. But there's other conventions you go to that they're closed off. They take all the back ways and they don't interact with the people that much. They got the people protecting them and all that stuff, which is good too, I guess. But it's cool getting that spontaneous interaction.
And stuff like that, patches that people do. Apparently, they're also selling phasers from each of the series, including the movies, the Star Trek 2 J.J. Abrams stuff. See that on the right side there in the middle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Deep Space Nine shirts. The motion picture hat. That's cool. I would have killed to have that in 78. Six. I forgot what they call him. He's like Clippy, right? The old Microsoft thing they used to have that annoyed everybody. And that's Jess Bush. I did not recognize her. That is Nurse Chapel on Strange New Worlds.
You know,
Andrew Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah, of course he was also in Clint Eastwood movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Plays Uhura and Nurse Chapel. They look different out of costume. So yeah, she wears a wig on the show, by the way. As if you hadn't figured that out, right?
Yeah. Can't be dolled up all the time, you know.
Right.
Nana Visitor.
Yeah. And Andrew Robinson.
Yeah.
I tell you, that man, he can play anything, but he's perfect at bad guys. And then to twist the character that we thought was a bad guy into a hero in Deep Space Nine, that was fantastic.
He is a chameleon, you know.
Right.
He's a super spy. He's Garrick, the tailor. You know, it's all understated, but he's also bigger than life. You know, so it's an interesting dynamic that he works with. You know.
And then you got Chase Masterson and
the young
Sure.
boy.
Yeah.
Is a full-size man. You know.
I think they pronounce it Sirach Lofton.
Sirach.
Something like that. Sirach. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of the work that was going on. I'm not surprised that it caught on. I really am not. I mean, I think that, for instance, whether it was dealing with, like in my case, my favorite episode that I did was The Wire, but also the episode that you did with my late friend Harris, the duet. I mean,
And I knew you had to be getting annoyed, and it was so late. And I'm going to the cameraman, please, I know you have children. I promise this time I'm going to do it. And he'd say it, and it was
amazing. It's like you were out of your body.
I was out of my body, and it was the funniest thing I ever heard. And he said it exactly the same way with the same fervor, and it got me every time. There were like 30 takes. It was awful. Oh my God.
Well, I'm glad that Mark has got a chance to do this. You know, he's talked about it a little bit with Russ, and that do it. That's why I always tell people to do it. You know, and there's only so many times I managed to do it a few times, and it's in retrospect, you'll never regret going to a convention. And there's always more. So So I say do it as often and as much as you can. Good stuff. Yeah.
Do you remember?
We grew up in a certain time, you know, that, and in some ways it's magical. It was, you know, I can't think of a better era of TV.
You know, it's the way things were when we were back in the AV club. You know, things were different in the 70s and 80s, and technology has come quite a bit along, but I don't know, interpersonal skills have just dropped off. So you've got everybody's connected on their phone and they wander around, you know, going, I'm telling you, I was almost thrown out of the Monkees concert for having a movie camera, a sound movie camera. I had to open the case, you know, open the camera and show them I was using silent film. Can you imagine? I had to show them. I said, do you see a microphone? They're like, no. I said, do you see this? It says G160 ISO or whatever, ISA, silent 8mm Super 8 film. You know, like, what is your problem? I'm taking pictures. And the bouncers just did not understand. Like, you don't have a press pass, you can't film. Wait a minute. I got a camera and I got a movie camera. You think I'm leaving them here or I'm going to put them back in my car that's an hour walk away from here? Heck no. You know, it's just crazy. Now everybody has phones with cameras and movie, you know, video. It's like,
well, they can't stop that. Well, they can't stop it. You know,
right?
You know, they try. You know, they try to. You know, at one point. You know, but it's too much. It doesn't really make sense. You know, it's also a promotion. You know that gets other people into it. You know, because I can tell you, it's nice. It's very nice that you can do this and we can look over Mark's shoulder. You know, but it does not beat the actual experience of doing it. You know, it's just like
Absolutely.
going to the neutral zone and you know. And going to Ticonderoga, you know, that's all a unique experience that you get, you know, being right there, you know, where things are happening. I get overwhelmed with these things, you know. It's an incredible thing, and it's you know, that's what we live for, you know, because you know, we have people going and coming. Hey, go see William Shatner. You know, I mean,
absolutely.
He's not going to be here forever. I think he's still got a little ways because he's a force of nature. You know, but you know, he's not going to be around forever. You know, I went to see Adam West as much as I could too. I saw Adam West 3 times. You know, whatever else, and it's like I knew it. You know, it was, hey, you know. You get to be of a certain age, you know, things
right.
happen, you know, and you know, we've lost, you know, we lost, you know, Dee and we lost Scotty,
right,
and we just lost Michelle, whatever else is, you know, it's just a matter of fact, or whatever else, and it's just, I'm glad each one of them has got their own little shot. You know, well, it's not a little shot, you know, but you have your own comeback. You have your own point of reference, you know, where you know you have something that featured them, you know, whatever else.
Yeah, at least one episode concentrated on, like on TOS. You got Scotty got the girl. That was the whole gag, right? The running joke. Well, when am I going to get the girl? You know, or when's Michelle going to get the guy? Right? So yeah, but at least it was at least 1 or 2 episodes where each of the main characters got the girl or whatever, and I love that, and it continued on throughout the rest of the shows. Well, thank you for calling in and representing Harrisfilm Productions.
Oh, you bet.
All right.
So this is Dr. Jones, Mark Ferguson, signing off, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, buddy. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Okay, bye.
hailing frequencies are closed.